Welcome everyone to my Season 11 Death Trap build guide. My name is Averlin and we're going to take a look at what changed for Death Trap in Season 11 and if it's as doom as some people expected from the PTR. The fear we had going into the PTR and playing the PTR was that we relied on Selig to have the permanent reset Death Trap shenanigans that most people seem to enjoy. We had to basically depend on the random resource generation and then have like no HP, and it was quite a mess. This was actually changed from the PTR with the changes to how quality impacts the stats on your item, which means that we get a lot more energy from casting a ultimate skill compared to what we did before. However, it is a little bit gear dependent still, and it does require you to have some specific GA temper crits, but also masterwork capstone crits in order for you to hit this infinite reset loop. Personally, I do not predict Selig to be the meta way of playing Death Trap, because Selig was also significantly nerfed compared to its PTR version. With the added cooldown reduction to a lot of pieces compared to what we had on the PTR, it should also be easier for you to hit these cooldown requirements, so don't be too afraid of hitting all of these required breakpoints. Playing Death Trap in the early game is a little bit clunky still, because we don't have the energy gameplay loop without all of these unique synergies and all that sort of stuff. So in the early game, we're using Flurry for both mobility and to reset our Death Trap as frequently as possible. We reset Death Trap with the help of Exposure, but also Preparation. Exposure means that every time we're hitting a target that has a trap effect on it, we have a chance to reset a part of the cooldown of the trap. Preparation means that when we're spending energy with Flurry, we're also resetting our cooldown on Death Trap. Flurry has also gained a mobility tag, which means that we can use Galvanized Aspect to immediately reset all of our energy as well, and also have higher maximum energy, which means we get more resets with Preparation. The starter variant can still spam on AoE, but you have to weave on single target, basically just casting Flurry and then Death Trap, and then you hold down Flurry until Death Trap is ready again. The rotation is quite simple. You want to dash into enemies, then drop your Caltrops and Smoke Grenade on enemies in order to make them take more damage, and then you hold down Death Trap until you can't anymore, and then you cast Flurry. Like, you basically have a spell weaving situation going. In the mid game, when you're unlocking synergies with Beastfall boots and other items, you want to have the Flurry helmet on to prevent you from not being able to cast Flurry, because that's gonna feel bad when you're just standing there waiting for energy to start to slowly fill up. This variant, with basically no chaos powers and nothing on the Season 10 live servers, did actually clear pit 80, so this build is very capable, but it does feel pretty bad because you have to alternate very quickly between Flurry and DT at times. On AoE, you can just hold down Death Trap and spam like always, but on single target, it's a bit random. The rotation is basically identical to what you played in the starter variant, where you press Caltrops and Smoke Grenade in order to deal more damage, and then you just press Death Trap to annihilate everything. Make sure that you use Concealment to get 100% crit chance and vulnerable application during this time as well. Do note, however, that it's actually possible to get Death Trap going in Ancestral already, as long as you hit specific greater affixes on your temper and specific Masterwork capstone crits. This will be kind of difficult to do early game, but as you're progressing further and further into the game and waiting for that mythic variant, you can actually get to the point where you just spam Death Trap all the time without Flurry. If you do reach this point, you can swap out the Flurry helmet for something else if you don't want to weave in a Flurry for the attack speed gain. For the exact greater affixes and masterworking you need in order to reach this breakpoint, do look at the Ancestral variant on the max roll build guide for Death Trap. Every crit there is basically required to get Death Trap to low enough cooldown while also restoring enough energy. If you have any questions or problems with this, just hit me up in the comment section below or on Maxroll's community Discord. I'm more than happy to help with this. The late game variant of this build basically assumes you have the GA in the right places and the Masterwork capstones in the right places, as well as various mythic items. This version no longer uses Flurry and basically plays exactly like you did in Season 9 and Season 10. So instead of having Flurry, we drop it for Poison Trap to deal a little bit more damage and get a brief knockdown for Malice double dipping. Unlike most other rogue builds this season, Sanctification doesn't actually do much for synergies apart from giving you more damage. But there are 3 different aspects that we presume you can get from Sanctification that does help you quite significantly. You can get aspect of siphoned victuals to have higher unstable elixir uptime. You can get the Umbrous aspect for higher Dark Shroud uptime. If you do get this, you swap the Mott rune for something else like Thul rune or Om rune, depending on what you have access to. You can also get the Galvanized aspect. The energy restore doesn't really matter too much, but the max energy actually means you can swap your elixir from a maximum resource elixir to an attack speed one to perhaps get to the next attack speed breakpoint. Apart from that, you can just add as many generic aspects as you get on your gear. Most of them will increase your damage anyway, or look to get the shadow percent affix if you get that, or various skill ranks one, like ranks to all skills on rings or core ranks on amulets and gloves. If you do happen to get aspect of quickening fog, you could also drop smoke grenade on your bar and pick up something like Dark Shroud to swap your Mott rune for Thol as well if you want to. All in all, it actually looks a lot better for Death Trap than it did on the PTR. This version should be incredibly tanky and just play very, very efficiently like we have in Season 9 and Season 10. You will be incredibly tanky because you have permanent uptime on concealment on Dark Shroud from the reset mechanics. You spend so much energy that you will never die due to second wind. It's a very durable build. Some of the PTR issues that we did see though, that you had streaks where you got random no resets, probably because of Scoundrel's Leathers. We have no clue if that is fixed. We're gonna see that when Season 11 is released. We also had some minor reduction to the Death Trap pull-in effect, which also felt kind of bad, but we'll see how bad it is in the season release. All in all, though, Death Trap is very much alive and well. We will obviously do less damage than the hit and run version on Season 10 live, because that was absurdly broken, but it seems to be doing really well. If you have any questions, please reach out in the Maxwell community Discord. I have a link to it in the description below, or just in the comment section. I'm more than happy to help if you guys have any questions regarding any of these builds, or if you just want to reach out to chat about the game in general. For now, that is all you need to know about Season 11 Death Trap. I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.